Thanks for tuning in, guys, to the Pest and Lawn Ginja. And today we're going to talk about all things power rakes and dethatchers. Now, with so many options on the market today, understanding the differences between power raking, a true dethatcher, can be very confusing. So I want to spend some time today, go through each one of the pieces of equipment so you at home can make a better decision on what's best for your lawn. Now, the first step is the most important part of the process, is determining whether you actually have a thatch problem or if you just simply have a lawn debris problem. There's a couple of tools that I use in determining whether a lawn has thatch or debris, and the first one I want to talk about is the Thatch Rake. Now, I really wish they changed the name of this rake because I use it to check debris levels and not necessarily thatch levels. Now, there's two sides to this rake. This side is the debris side. It's got these flat discs, and the other side has this little notch in it. Now, that notch is to rip and tear. It's a cultivator. Now, this tool is very easy to use. You just set the degree of the angle you want by adjusting these screws, and it goes into the ground at a specific angle to remove debris. Now, the next tool on my list is the Ams Soil Probe. Now, I really enjoy this because it shows me water saturation levels, but it also shows me if we have a thatch problem. Now, thatch is the actual root ball in the soil that holds all the micronutrients. Now, once that thatch layer gets above about 1/4 of an inch, you start getting into a danger zone.
Now, I want to show you two different methods for checking for lawn debris. This lawn is a perfect candidate. It's got that hazy brown color that's uniform throughout the whole lawn. Now, what I'm going to do is just get down in the lawn. I'm going to part the lawn as if a girl was checking her scalp. Now, if you can't visibly see the soil, you can take a pinch, see what you can pull out. Now, you can visibly see I've got almost 1/4 inch of just dead debris sitting there. 95% of the matter is dead grass, and that's what's actually clouding the color. Now, another method for checking debris is using the Thatch Rake. Now, this is one of my favorite methods because it really shows you what reality is. Now, that little pinch, you wouldn't understand how much is really coming out until you use a Thatch Rake, and it shows you what reality really is. Now, it's really important to remove this debris simply because it slows down oxygen flow and leaves you more vulnerable to fungus. And it's also the primary food for turf insects as well.
Now, where the confusion comes in is the name of the device that I just used is called a Thatch Rake. And you can see we have all this dead debris. Now, at the base of it, we get some of the root ball at the very top layers. And that is technically considered thatch, but the majority of it is just debris. Now, this debris is clouding oxygen flow through the plant and causing the dysfunction. But it's also clouding the color. That brown haze you see, it's actually just the dead grass. So when you remove it, you're left with the live grass, the living, and it looks really good.
Now that we have a good understanding of how to check for lawn debris, let's move on to checking for thatch. Now, I use the Ams Soil Probe. It's an easy way to do it because it shows you the soil profile in a plug. Now, the thatch layer is that top layer. It's a root ball, an accordion layer of roots that holds the majority of your micronutrients. Now, where we get in trouble with the thatch is when that accordion layer starts growing upward and it starts suffocating everything else and the water can't pass through. So when you get above about 1/4 of an inch, you want to start removing it or keeping it in check. Negative side effects include a spongy lawn that takes way too much water, shallow roots, and a lawn that simply just won't grow.
Now, once you've identified whether you have a lawn debris problem or a thatch problem, we need to move on to the devices that actually get rid of lawn debris or thatch. Let's take a look at these devices and their uses. First on the list, lawn debris removers. Let's go. The most inexpensive way to remove debris is with a dethatching rake, but it does come at a price. Your body. This is the worst job in the world, by the way. If you have very small lawns, this is a extremely useful tool. You can pick these up for about 35 bucks, and they work fantastic at removing debris. The next step up is a tine-based dethatcher. Now, contrary to its name, dethatcher, it is a power rake, and it removes lawn debris. On the bottom of this, it's got these tines, and these tines act almost like a round brush that the ladies use to remove debris from their scalp. Same thing happens here. It'll remove topical debris, so it will get maybe the top 1/16 of an inch of thatch, but for the most part, does a fantastic job removing debris.
These machines are fantastic because you can really run them anytime during the growing season of the lawn because they really don't scuff up the soil too much, and you don't have that long recovery process as you would with some of the heavier duty machines.
Next up on the list is the Contractor version Bluebird Power Rake. Now this is operated by flails that run a 50-to-1 ratio, and these can be picked up at your local rental shops anywhere between $65 and $85 per day on average. Now these are the flails. They are discs that score the ground at 50-to-1, and there is a lot of them. Now this is much more aggressive than the homeowner version. I find that this pulls 33% more debris than the residential versions per pass. Now, where the residential versions come in at a cost of around $125, you rent this twice and the other one has paid for itself.
The Power Rake tends to be a lot more aggressive than the tine-based dethatchers and is a perfect choice for Bermuda and zoysia lawns with subsurface rhizomes and stolons. Now, the other application is for lawns that are just super dense and you just want the job to go quickly. This is a fantastic choice. Now, keep in mind, recovery is going to be longer because this machine is more aggressive. Now, next on our list is the Power Sweeper or Power Broom. Now, this one gets me a little excited because it's the least invasive. It's got these nylon-based bristles. Now, commonly they use these for turf sweepers, like artificial turf. You can actually use these on the lawn. While most of the Power Rake and Dethatcher's focus is primarily to get rid of excess mulch, this machine will actually get rid of multiple different types of debris. Now, a lot of you guys out there get gravel from the snow plows, excess sand. It'll get rid of it all, and it does a great job. These machines are a little bit pricey. Might be better to find a rental. They range between $800 and $5,000 to buy new.
Now, the best time to run these machines is fall time for your cool season grasses, springtime for your warm season grasses during their growing periods. Now, if your lawn is in distress, you can run these machines any time of the year. The only difference is the amount of time it takes to recover the lawn. Next up are the machines that actually remove thatch. Let's take a look.
First on the list is the core aeration machine. Now, the only job this does is pulls a ton of plugs that look like little dog turds left all over the lawn. Now, there is a purpose for this. Now, a good lawn aeration machine weighs about 150 pounds, and the reason why they are so heavy is because they need to pull a solid 3-inch plug. The actual purpose of this is to relieve soil compaction and to reduce thatch buildup. Now, this allows the plant to breathe better, and a lot of times when you get that much soil compaction, the roots start curling back upwards to get to the water, and it increases your thatch buildup. Now, Ginja, what do I do with all the dog turds? I hate them. Well, you got a couple of options. My number one option is to leave them be. That thatch layer contains a lot of micronutrients, and it's important that you just let it dissolve back into the soil. Now, if you really don't like them, run it over with a tine-based dethatcher to help break it down sooner. The absolute best time of the year to do it for cool season grasses is the fall time, about 4 weeks before the first frost, and for your warm season grasses, springtime is best. Now, having the ground open the way that it is a perfect time to overseed your lawn if your lawn is sparse, and if you have a heavy weed problem, it's a perfect time to drop some calcium, whether it be lime, gypsum, or sulfur, into those holes to condition the soil. Now, you can also use a pre-emergent fertilizer if you have a history of weeds. Next up on our list is vertical mowing, also known as vertical cutting and slit slicing. Now, these machines are fast becoming one of my favorite choices for lawn care. As we get under this machine, you'll see these flat discs, and their only job is to create grooves. Now, it creates a groove about every 2 inches or less, depending on the vertical mower that you choose, and it cuts through the thatch. Now, these will uproot thatch, similar to what the tine dethatcher does, but instead of debris, it will get the heavy thatch. Now, aside from eliminating the spongy surface of the crown of the grass, it's also going to improve oxygen and water flow through the soil. Will promote lateral growth. Now, for your warm season guys, you're actually going to be cutting through your laterally growing stolons and promote an upright growth habit. Now, vertical mowers on average will cut between 1/64 of an inch to 1/8 of an inch below the surface. Now, this is a perfect opportunity to overseed a lawn and or top dress a lawn after it's been done. Now, my opinion on the best time of the year to use these machines is the spring and the fall time during the germination period of Poa annua and crabgrass. Now, the reason being is you will disrupt and dislodge these seeds during their germination process, thus stopping them in their tracks. So if you have a problem with Poa, vertical mowing may be your best bet.
Next up on the list is our Sun Joe Residential Scarifier and Dethatcher. Now, this machine looks like a Fisher-Price toy. It doesn't feel that great in the hands, but it does one heck of a job. I've been really satisfied with it. And this is my residential model of choice. The reason being is because it's got two attachments. One is the Dethatcher attachment that removes lawn debris, and the other one is the Scarifier. I find this very, very advantageous. This will cut grooves into the lawn about 10 millimeters deep, and it actually removes the thatch, where the Dethatch attachment does not. Now, if your lawn is not growing properly and it's kind of stunted, no matter what you throw at it, fertilizer, whatever, this is a great choice.
Both the Scarifier and the vertical mower's intended purposes are to cut grooves into the ground. Now, the biggest difference between the vertical mowers and the Scarifier is the Scarifier cuts deeper. It'll go almost half an inch, 0.4 of an inch into the ground, where the vertical mowers traditionally go 1/8. The advantage to the Scarifier is that the machine's gonna go deeper and it's gonna get more of that dense thatch out, especially if you have a big problem like I do on my own personal lawn. It makes a big difference to go deeper. Now, the Scarifier has half the amount of discs as a traditional vertimower will. Now, to compensate for that, you can simply just go over the lawn twice instead of one time, and you'll have the same amount. Now, the Sun Joe Scarifier is nice because this is a tool that you can adjust the settings and you can use it just like a vertical mower if you wanted to.
Prefer to run the Dethatchers spring and fall. Now, technically you can run them any time of the year if your lawn is in distress, but you want to make sure you do it during the growing season to make sure that it has enough time to recover, and that's the biggest difference. Now, recovery solutions will depend on your area, but I recommend a high amount of humic acid, sea kelp, and calcium. Now, if the ground temperatures are above 55 degrees, hitting it with 1/4 of a pound to 3/4 of a pound of nitrogen per 1,000 square feet is best practice to promote some healthy growth and repair. Now, guys, what I want you to take from this, if you actually have a lawn debris problem, you need to use a tool that actually gets rid of lawn debris. If you have a thatch problem and or compaction, you need to use a tool that gets rid of thatch and or compaction issues. If you guys have any questions or concerns, feel free to hit me up in the comments. Love to help you guys out. Really appreciate the support that you guys have given me. 40,000 subscribers and climbing. Just remember, sharing is caring. This is the Ginja. I'm out.